Hello everyone, Tasty Waffle here. Today I'll be reviewing Kurosawa's fifth film, No Regrets for Our Youth, released in 1946. So let's begin with the plot. Plots can be a very interesting thing to review. Usually the rule of thumb is, if you can sum up the plot of the movie in one sentence, then it's probably a good plot. And this is the case with movies like Star Wars or Jaws, where the plot is very simple and straightforward. Other films are harder to review in terms of plot because they have more complex plots, but are nonetheless good, such as Gone with the Wind and The Godfather. I would say that No Regrets for Our Youth fits in this latter category. The plot is not straightforward in terms of being a simplistic goal, but it is structured very well and structured very much like a play, with what I was counting at about 5 segments that lead, or one leads, organically into the next. The story here is about the student rebellion at Kyoto Imperial University in 1933. This film is based somewhat on a true story, where when the Japanese government decided to invade China in 1933, students at the university rebelled. This is a fictionalized account of that story. Our main character is Yukie, the daughter of a professor. The professor is one of those who advocates the student rebellion, and she is caught up in it. This is really the story of how her involvement with the student rebellion comes back to haunt her later. Like I said, it's divided up into segments, each like a chapter in a book, and it plays very well, and each leads from one to the other organically. Nothing feels forced or rushed, and the pacing is very good. Therefore, I give the plot 5 out of 5. Let's move on to the characters. This is a rather small cast of characters. There are really only 4 major characters, and they're all very, very well played. Setsuko Hara gives a great performance as Yukie. She really brings a lot to it, and one of the nice things about this film is we see the evolution of the character. That's always a good thing to see, when a character changes and evolves, and in her case grows up. She goes from being naive, petulant, and perhaps a little spoiled, to becoming a responsible woman who understands the importance of what she did in resisting the government and its fascist policies. So she is very well played here. One of the Kurosawa regular actors, Susumu Fujita, plays Noge, who is the love interest of Yukie. Now, he reminds me a little bit of Paul Hunreid in Casablanca. He is a bit of a stiff. This is the same actor who played Sugata in the Judo Saga, as well as the border guard commander in The Men Who Tread on the Tiger's Tail. And he is a bit of a stiff. It's not that he doesn't give a good performance. He does really, really well. He's just maybe not the most dynamic character, and perhaps forgettable. Another person of note is Yukie's other friend, Itakawa, played by Ayatake Kono. He does good. He's a very unassuming character, so he might not be as well remembered, but he nonetheless brings a lot of energy and a good deal of compassion to the story. And another person to mention is Denjiro Okochi as Yukie's father. This actor has appeared in several of Kurosawa's films up to this point, and he always brings his best. I like how he plays the professor as a very realistic fellow. He's someone who doesn't really over-romanticize the cause he's fighting for. He's a bit of a realist, and that's very good. And also it's great to see Takashi Shimura as the rather detestable police commissioner, because every time he's on screen, you know he brings his best. He's only in the movie for 5 minutes, but he leaves a lasting impression. So the characters here are wonderful. So I give the characters 5 out of 5. Let's move on to the script. There's not really much more I need to say about the script, other than it gives us a very good story, and near the end of the film, there is payoff after payoff after payoff. And that's a great sign, because you see all the strings coming together. Everything ties together neatly. So I give the script 5 out of 5. Let's move on to the depth. Like I said, Yukie's character evolves. And that's a great thing to see, because that's part of character depth. So it's really nice to see that. It's also deep in regards to Yukie learns over the course of the story to not regret what she was involved in fighting the government. This film came out right after World War II, when Kurosawa was finally allowed to discuss his anti-war feelings. Prior to that, he wasn't allowed to. And this really demonstrates how a part of the story of World War II that we don't know a lot about, that there were actually Japanese citizens who were very against the government becoming fascist and militaristic. And we really get to explore that very, very well in this story. So I give the depth 5 out of 5. The next thing we'll look at is the music. Kurosawa understood how music could uplift a film. All of his films up to this point have had incredible music. And therefore, just to sum it all up, I have to give the music 5 out of 5. And last but not least, the spectacle. The spectacle here is fantastic. Kurosawa was the master of movement, and he knew how to use the camera in really, really inventive ways to make every image look fascinating, and he does it here. There's not really much more I can say, other than at this point in his career, he had mastered the art of movement. And this is one of the great examples of that Kurosawa style. So I have to give the spectacle 5 out of 5. Well, as you probably guessed, when we total it up, it gets a 30 out of 30. I feel that this is Kurosawa's first masterpiece, the first of many. I would highly recommend it. So that's my review. Stay tuned for my next review of his one of his lesser-known films, One Wonderful Sunday. So thanks for watching. Bye.